In recent years, the portrayal of poverty in media, marketing, and cultural narratives has grown increasingly problematic. Terms like low income, underclass, or even sinking are often used in project presentations to dismiss entire groups as commercially insignificant. This language reflects a broader trend of dehumanizing the poor, reducing them to stereotypes that strip away their agency, individuality, and honestly, their humanity. This article explores how poverty is misrepresented in contemporary media, the societal implications of this othering, and the need to reclaim authentic narratives about the poor. The concept of alienation, being controlled rather than liberated, aptly describes the treatment of the poor in modern discourse. Much like how social media algorithms trap users in endless scrolling, societal narratives about poverty trap individuals in reductive labels. The poor are often depicted as greedy, short-sighted, or undeserving, their struggles framed as personal failures rather than systemic issues. Media headlines like "The Poor Mindset Ruining Your Life" or "Why Some Poor People Deserve Their Fate" reinforce this narrative, portraying poverty as a moral defect. These depictions not only rob the poor of their voice, but also turn them into cautionary tales for the middle class, their lives reduced to what not to do. This dehumanization extends to cultural products, where poverty is equated with moral inferiority. The poor are blamed for their circumstances, as if systemic barriers, limited opportunities, or just sheer bad luck play no role. Meanwhile, wealth is glorified as a marker of virtue, with media celebrating affluence and dismissing the struggles of the poor as self-inflicted. In the past, stories celebrated the resilience and grit of ordinary people. Shows like The Happy Life of Talkative Zheng Damin from 1998 or Ma Da Shui portrayed the poor with dignity, highlighting their humor, optimism, and humanity despite hardship. These narratives focused on the process of striving, really embodying the spirit of "my fate is mine to shape." Characters like Zheng Damin, who made the best of a cramped 20-square-meter home, or Ma Da Shui, who persevered through setbacks, resonated with audiences because they reflected the lived realities of the majority. Today, however, the cultural focus has shifted from effort to wealth itself. Social media platforms amplify this change, with fans idolizing celebrities for their affluence rather than their struggles. A single post geotagged at an elite location can garner millions of followers, as wealth becomes the ultimate measure of value. The poor, meanwhile, are erased or caricatured. In modern media, they are often portrayed as one-dimensional villains, scheming phoenix men, envious antagonists, or parasitic family members, existing only to contrast with the virtuous, affluent protagonists. Contemporary media rarely depicts the poor authentically. Dramas claiming to focus on ordinary people often present a sanitized version of poverty, set in unrealistic environments like upscale apartments or renovated courtyard homes in first-tier cities. For example, in Beijing Nanyuan, a supposedly struggling housewife lives in a spacious Beijing apartment, drives a BMW, and earns significant income from writing. Such portrayals mock the realities of urban poverty, cramped pigeon cage apartments, rundown neighborhoods, or precarious living conditions, which are conspicuously absent from mainstream narratives. This disconnect reflects a broader unwillingness among creators to engage with the lived experiences of the poor. Instead, poverty is romanticized or erased, replaced with a bourgeois fantasy where even the down-and-out enjoy middle-class comforts. The underlying message is clear: kindness, decency, and success are reserved for the wealthy. Poor characters, if they appear at all, are often reduced to stereotypes, selfish, conniving, or morally bankrupt, reinforcing the notion that poverty and goodness cannot coexist. At the heart of this narrative lies the outdated work ethic of the 19th century, which equates employment with moral superiority and unemployment with laziness. This framework blames the poor for their struggles, ignoring structural changes in the economy. In the past, labor-intensive industries rewarded hard work with upward mobility. Today, automation and AI-driven tools like Midjourney and ChatGPT have displaced countless workers, particularly in creative fields like screenwriting. As industries shift toward capital and knowledge-intensive models, Surplus labor is stigmatized as a disaster, and the unemployed are vilified as lazy or unworthy. This rhetoric serves a purpose. It divides the poor into deserving and undeserving, justifying indifference toward the latter. By framing poverty as a personal failing, society absolves itself of responsibility. The poor are told their suffering is their fault, while the wealthy are celebrated as morally superior. This narrative obscures the systemic factors, stagnant wages, rising costs, and shrinking opportunities that perpetuate poverty. The dehumanization of the poor is not just a media issue, it is a societal one. When we reduce the poor to stereotypes, we strip them of their humanity and honestly end up justifying their marginalization. But the truth is, the poor are not some monolithic group. They're street vendors, sanitation workers, factory laborers, and young people, navigating really uncertain jobs. Their struggles aren't a sign of personal failure. They're, in fact, a reflection of deep systemic inequities. To push back against this, we really need to amplify authentic stories of poverty, stories that shine a light on resilience, dignity, and, humanity. We need media that actually shows the poor as complex individuals, not just caricatures. And honestly, we have to challenge this idea that wealth equals virtue, recognizing that kindness and integrity, they transcend class. Above all, we must reject the narrative that poverty is a personal failing and instead advocate for a society that truly values all its members, no matter their economic status. By defending the humanity of the poor, we are, in a real sense, defending our own. Poverty is not a crime, and it's definitely not a moral failing. It is a shared human condition that calls for empathy, not judgment. So let's reject the rules set by those who profit from division and, work toward a world where every person's story is heard and valued.